Hi, I'm Melissa Ryan. Welcome back to my channel. Today, I want to talk to you about colonics. There's a lot to get to. I want to start at the very beginning. As far as we know, the practice first began in ancient Egypt. They would take reeds by the rivers and they would go into the water, stick it up their ass, and let the current sort of just go into their body, and they would remove the stick and let everything flow out. It's important to note that this was a very long time ago. The air was probably dreamlike. The water was so pure. The food, they were growing themselves, and there was no rocket science sort of mixed into it. So the fact that they needed to do this as far back as then speaks of its importance. It's not just food that can mess with our digestion. Our emotions are directly linked to our gut. And personally, I'm a very emotional person. I cannot be the only one. I hope you're into astrology. I am. I am a Cancer. I've got Venus, Mercury in midheaven. Something else, all in Cancer. Cancers feel the deepest out of the entire zodiac. My entire life is ruled by emotions. Everything I do is done with feeling. It's a big part of who I am. But you don't have to be as emotional as me if you're having a bad day, if you're feeling just depressed. Stress will wreak havoc on our bodies. And I've said it before, people brush it off like nothing because stress just seems so essential to everyday life. But it doesn't have to be that way. And it's absolutely not good for our bodies. So it's important to clean yourself, because that's what it does. It cleans your colon and allows for your body to flourish 100%. Constipation is a huge issue. I know, especially in America. Growing up, I was extremely constipated. I remember talking to my friends about it, and they would say, oh no, it's absolutely fine. I spoke to my doctor about it. He says if you go 2 to 3 times a week, you're fine. And even then, I'm like 15 years old, 16. I'm like, that's not right. That's absolutely not right. And especially at that age, you're young, you're eating everything, you're trying new foods, you're eating shitty foods all the time, sugar, soda, cookies, birthday parties with like cakes and shit. It's not good. And yes, it's fun to be social and enjoy foods and whatnot. Especially when you're 16, it's nice to be young and carefree. But I did have a lot of stress revolving around my body. I didn't feel good. And I knew, I'm young, I've got a long way to go. I shouldn't be feeling like this. I started messing around with laxatives. Laxatives essentially just irritate your colon. That's all it does. It irritates the colon. It shakes off excess shit. And, they didn't work very well for me. Maybe like the first, couple times I took them. But I knew it wasn't good. I knew it was a quick fix. And not even that great of a quick fix. Something had to be done. I went to a doctor when I was 20. I did some research through the internet. I booked an appointment. Very prestigious office. It was on the Upper East Side of Manhattan. It's funny. I was 20. I was at the time living with my roommate, and we were best friends, and we watched a lot of Sex and the City together. And there's this one episode where Miranda needs to be taken to the doctor and calls up Carrie, her best friends, to take her, but Carrie sends her boyfriend. And in this instance, Tara, she promised me, I don't want to use names, I'm sorry, Tara. Never again, I promise. You were the best roommate ever. She said she'd go with me. Last minute, she canceled. I did shitty things too, I swear to God. I didn't mean to use names, I'm still new at videos. She wanted to send her boyfriend to the fucking colonoscopy office with me. I called up my mom. She took off work last minute. And it was nice because the mixture that they gave me to shit everything before the colonoscopy didn't work. And I started literally to feel the effects when I was on the subway with my mom the next morning. I was like shaking, I was freaking out. It was nice that she was there. I get to the office, I go into the bathroom, and I went there, not a whole lot, but eventually their drugs somewhat worked. I'm in the waiting room. Me and my roommate are texting. I was upset. I go into the room, I'm called. The anesthesiologist is there, and she notices I'm upset. She's, what's wrong? I said, I'm just having issues with my roommate. I love her. And I was crying, and that's how I was put to sleep. They didn't ask me to count or anything. She just knocked me out. It's like, get this girl to shut up. And then when I was brought back into life, I was still crying. The most emotional cancer girl in the world. But yeah, anyway, the doctor said I was fine. There was no cancer, which is what I was literally the most worried about. But yeah, for a 20-year-old girl to think that she has cancer because she can't shit, I don't want to say it's an old person's problem. It shouldn't be any person's problem. But that did not weigh easily on my body. The doctor wanted to put me on medicine. He told me I might, you could think about surgery. I was like, will that help my shitting? He's like, oh, it's possible. Yeah, it's possible. It's possible for me to start shitting with your fucking surgery. It was literally at that point where I was like, I'm just going to make a change. Whatever I need to do to not make myself feel like a 97-year-old woman. It's whatever it is, it's worth it. It's worth it. It's 100% worth it. I went to bookstores. I don't know why I wasn't going to libraries, but I went to Barnes & Noble. Very expensive. I started reading. That's where I came across Skinny Bitch. I'm not sure if I mentioned it in a previous episode. That's when I decided to become a vegan. They advertised it as a diet book. I was all about diets at the time. In the book, though, they described the process of how animals went from animals to your plates. Horrified me. Absolutely horrified me. That's a different video. So I was like, okay, I'm a fucking vegan. They also spoke about the importance of shitting. They broke it down very simply. They said if you're not digesting your food and getting rid of it, it will essentially make you gain weight. And if it's not making you gain weight, you're just going to be bloated because you're going to have all this shit in your stomach and you're not going to feel good. They talked about eating salads, drinking lots of water. That wasn't enough for me. And I was extremely frustrated at the time because I had become a vegan and I still wasn't shitting properly. I still felt it, and it was just, fucking hell, what else more do I need to do? I feel like I've dealt with, I don't want to say disease a lot because I know there's people who suffer from cancers and things like that. But I just feel like from a young kid, I've had skin problems. You know, I had digestion problems for a really long time. For a while, my thyroid stopped working. And it's just, a lot of it's just me just wanting to do my own thing, figuring out my own way. And it's just, I've done so much research. I'm incredibly interested in it because the more I know, the better I feel. And literally, that's what these videos are about. I've said before, I am not a doctor. But I have such a strong interest in health and nutrition. It's so important to me because I was sick for so long at such a young age. And the difference I feel now is like night and day. It really is absolutely like night and day. But anyway, I'm doing my research. Red skinny bitch. I came across a woman, an absolutely beautiful woman, Natalia Rose. She has her own institute, look her up. She has books about food combining, foods that you should eat, foods that you shouldn't eat, and she is not a vegan. And she still really impresses on the fact of you need to digest your food. It is the absolute key to health because your body can't focus on healing itself if it's constantly digesting your food, which is a very big process for your body to do. And then when you encounter in just the air that we breathe, the impure food that we eat, even if you're buying the purest of the pure, because of the soil that's so clogged down with everything, the water, it's the rain, you know, fracking and everything, it's not as good as it should be. So more than ever, we need colonics. We absolutely need colonics, and people are grossed out by them. People who are very sick refuse to take them. But they're so important. They're absolutely so important. People use them at different times. Personally, I go once a week. I said before, I'm very emotional. And that's just my body. That's my body. I love getting them done. I bond a little bit with my therapist. I've cried hysterically just as everything releases because I can feel it, just the stress leaving my mind and the weight physically leaving my body. It's absolutely incredible. I consider it therapy. I really do. I'm going to make a second video right away. Thank you so much for listening. I really appreciate it. I really do. I urge you to get Colonics. I'm going to talk more about it in the next part. Thank you guys.